Hello, we're here this morning with Lieutenant Todd Harrison, who's the director here at the 911 Center, and then also Richie Hite, who's the technical services coordinator here at the 911 Center. We thank you fellas for meeting with us this morning. We're doing well. Can you tell us a little bit about where the 911 Center was before here in this new building?
When it first originally started, it was in the basement of the Civic Auditorium, and then after the Justice Center was built, it moved into the top floor of the Justice Center and was there until about 5 years ago when the Emergency Communication District of Kingsport built this nice facility here that we're in today. And then we have been here about 5 years, be 5 years next month. So.
And did you see, whenever you were in the smaller location at the 911 Center before and transitioned to the new building, were you allowed to have more people, more staffing in this newer building?
I think we have 2 more people now than what we did when we were at the Justice Center, but staffing's based upon call volume and needs and those type of things, and analysis, and we try to, Richie keeps up good with our numbers and those type of things. So like I say, we've got, there's 25 employees altogether here that has to do with the 911 Center. There's a director, Richie's our technical services coordinator. We have a dispatch supervisor, Adriana Sorge. We have 2 radio techs that take care of all the radios in the city, and then we have 20 dispatchers. And those dispatchers are on a 12-hour rotating shift, and we staff it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
So it's a pretty big operation, but these ladies and men that work here, they do a fabulous job and stay on top of their game and keep their training up and all those type of things. So.
Well, when you mentioned the staff and their training, how much training does a person have to actually work here at the 911 Center?
When we hire someone new, you're looking at around an 8-month training program. We have fire dispatch, EMS dispatch, and police dispatch, and we usually start them out on EMS dispatch. They'll get about a 2-week orientation period, and then we put them out on a shift with training officers to teach them. They go through the EMS protocol first. They learn power phone, which is a medical dispatch program that we use. Depending on the type of call or need, when it's put in, it prompts, the computer prompts the questions that need to be answered so that they can relate that information to the fire department or EMS and the first responders that are responding to that. All that information is entered into PowerPhone and then uploaded into the CAD, so there is a record of the questions. It also tells them what priority that the call that they're receiving should be sent on, whether it's emergency or a routine response call. What would you say, Richie? Probably 6 weeks, 3 months. Depending, once they advance through the EMS protocol, then we move them to police. And when you're talking about a full shift, when everybody's here, plus a power shift, they could have anywhere from 16 to 24 people that one person has to keep up with. And you've got people making traffic stops, people dispatching calls for service, accidents, domestics, all those type things, and that one dispatcher takes care of all of that. So you can imagine what the stress level is for them. Once they advance through the police phase, they move on to the fire department's phase. Once they've completed it, of course, at the end of each of these protocols, if they're having struggles, those type of things, we use a program we just got called Agency 360 that documents all their DORs and allows us to map all of their particular individual items that they have to be checked off on. If they're showing a weakness in a particular area while they're in that protocol, we may extend their training 3 or 4 days, maybe a week. And then once they've shown proficiency, we advance them to the next stage. Once they've gone through all 3 phases, they get what we call about a 2-week final phase, where they rotate through just like a regular dispatcher, and it's up to them to learn to use the GIS mappings, the power phone, the CAD, answer the phones, talk on the radio, dispatch fire, EMS, police, whatever it is that they're doing. But you're looking at around 8 months before they complete that program. So we do our best to try to maintain and minimize as much turnover as we can, but in a high-stress environment like this and everything, we do have some, but we have some people that's been here a long, long time too. So, you know, they really work hard. They really do.
Well, having to multitask and things like that, I'm sure that's a big undertaking for someone.
It is, and some of our new dispatchers that we're seeing now, that's something a lot of them aren't used to, and it takes a while for somebody to learn to listen to the radio, talk on the phone, type things in the computer, and all those. I mean, it's a very fast-paced, intense job, and some of these guys and ladies out here, I mean, they do a great job. They really do.
Well, whenever you're looking to hire someone here at the center, what type of a background would they have to have?
Well, you know, some people come to us that have experience and some people don't. You know, it's an interview process, and then we ask various questions based upon the skill levels and needs that we have here for this job. And then generally when they come to the interview, there'll be a 3-person panel, and everybody evaluates them, and then the scores are calculated. But good communication skills, the ability to multitask is very essential. The ability to handle stress and to maintain composure and speak clearly are really good and required skills. So some people don't have those when they get here, but they develop them. And, you know, I mean, it's the overall picture of the person, their experience, their education, and we're looking for quality employees, people that we think that will stick with us and make a good dispatcher long term.
Do you have a lot of turnover?
Well, sometimes we will have some, sometimes we may go a long time and never have any. You know, it depends on, some people retire, some people, they've got to do something else. Sometimes it's because of health reasons, or they may have a personal need that just doesn't allow them to continue in the position. You know, everybody's different. Everybody's different. So, but.
Is there any time that you all could say that you are busier here at the center than others?
Generally in the afternoons and early evenings. Some people are going home, traveling a lot more. Those are generally our busier times, and the weekends probably picks up a little bit in the summertime. Then in the wintertime it'll drop off because most everybody's inside. But yeah.
As the temperature comes up, call volume comes up.
Wow.
So, and, you know, rainy days, around 10, 11, everybody's getting out, going to lunch, wrecks happen, and those type of things. So, you know, from 10, 11 in the morning until 10, 11, 12 at night, it's wide open. Wide open.
Well, you know, you're talking about when the temperature changes. Have you all noticed with the issues that we've been dealing with as far as the virus and people being home more, have you noticed that there's maybe an increase in calls due to something like this that's going on?
Certain type of calls things I know here at the police department that's been implemented is, now, a lot of times if you call needing police service and it's not something that's actively going on, generally when we dispatch the officer, they will give the person a call to determine, is this something I actually need to go out face to face and talk to a person with? Is there evidence of a crime that needs to be collected, statements that need to be taken, photographs that need to be made, these type things? If it is, then yes, they'll go on and respond to that location. If it's more, somebody stole my push mower out from under my deck behind my house, and they don't have a serial number or anything like that, or if they do and they have it, most of the time the officer will take that type report over the phone, basically to minimize the potential of contacting the virus or getting a cold or the flu or anything from, basically we're just trying to keep people as healthy as we can.
Sure.
So, and that's something that I'm not sure if the public's aware of that we've started doing, but that we are doing that, and that's the reason for that. So, I think everybody's trying to wear their mask and social distance and do all they can to stay as healthy. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how many lines, you all were talking to me a little bit before we went on to film, but how many phone lines are there actually that are coming in for the people who are working here?
We've got 6 non-emergency lines, and then we've got 9 911 lines. And in addition to that, we've got 13 administrative lines throughout the city that connects us to various city buildings.
Which I'm sure that keeps you on at night.
It does. It does.
Well,
That's a lot too.
we're required to have 3 dispatchers, one for police, fire, and EMS here at all times. Sometimes we'll have an extra dispatcher or 2, but depending on staffing levels, how many's in training, what kind of turnover, people that are out on family medical leave and those type things, we may have more, but if you've got 3 people in there and all those lines light up, it gets very hectic and busy. So they do a fabulous job in there, they really do. So.
Sure they do. That's, it's so needed, and, I thank you all for what you do, each and every day with dealing with all that you have to here. And you were saying also that this is a training center too, or if there's issues that arise, within the city, and people need to all come together for an emergency situation, that they can meet here.
The folks that are on our 911 board and our former director, Lieutenant Jerry Mile and Captain Jenny Castle and Richie, and at that time Nancy Finger was our supervisor over dispatch, all got together and put in a whole lot of thought and preparation into what this building should be, and they found there are standards for a true 911 building that has to be met for building codes, and they use those to design and develop this building, and it's really, really nice. We're currently sitting in, this here could be a training room, or it also functions as the Emergency Operation Command Center for the city. Each Wednesday morning, we spin it up and communicate with the Eastman's EOC over there. So we're able to communicate and share information then with us and us with them, all through technology. And the way this here is set up, if there were a major event in the city, we could bring representatives from police, fire, EMS, public works, water department, and everyone here could come in, plug in their laptops. There's large screens of TVs and things you see here, as well as the windows and everything. We have white dry erase boards that hang over those windows for people to make notes on, or to keep up with who they've actually got out in the field working and where they're at. Also, we have the James F. Kiesling boardroom here at the 911 center, and it was set up also to function as an EOC as well. So if the city manager and the department heads wanted to be in there and have their own, and then the department's people in here, that could happen as well. So it's a very nice facility. The technology is state of the art. As you can see, there's a lot of voice over IP phones in here. So, you know, if you needed to have a conference call or whatever, you could use those to do that. Also, where these dispatchers are here 24 hours, 7 days a week, they include a full kitchen here. So if they need to get up and take a break and go fix them something to eat and come back and sit down and start back dispatching, they can do that without ever having to leave the building. We've also got a couple rooms that have fold-down beds in it, so if you have severe storm, snowstorm or whatever, you know, some of our dispatchers live in Bristol and various places around here, and they may not be able to get home, and they may need to stay and sleep and then get up and work their next shift. So,
It's nice that was thought of.
oh yeah, I mean, they really thought it through very well, and,
How long was that process from, like, when they started the thing about building this?
Idea to fruition, probably about two years.
Yeah.
Because we did a lot of going to other sites throughout the state, getting their best ideas, putting them into ours.
Yeah.
So, and then there's still things that I wish we could have done here, could have done different, but, you know.
Overall, it's a beautiful building. Like you said, you've got all access if you need to have meetings and things here. It's just a great thing that they were able to do here. We're glad you were able to get the building.
we had, and one of the things we really have to commend the 911 board. The 911 board saved the money to build this building and paid cash for it. So there was no bond issue or anything like that. They used 911 funds that we receive quarterly from the Tennessee Emergency Communication Board and saved the money and managed it until they had enough money to build the building. That way there's no debt for them or the city taxpayer. So, you know, it was really well thought out in several years of planning, and not just from the building aspect, but the financial aspect. So they did a wonderful job.
That's
They
great.
did. Chief Connor Caldwell and Chief Kiesling, Chief John Mosier, just trying to think who else was on the board at that time, Richie. They were really great visionaries of what they wanted, how they wanted it, and how they planned on paying for it. So a lot of credit goes to those folks for being able to look down the road and see what the needs were and to address those and provide for the community.
It's just what a neat process and all the thought and things that went into it, and then to see the outcome. It's great.
It's great. It really is. I mean, this is really, really nice. Richie, would you like to explain how the roof is built in there and over
We've
dispatch?
actually got a 3-layer roof, just in case of inclement weather or a tornado or whatever. We've got a metal roof, a sub-roof under it, and an actual roof over dispatch. So we've got 3 layers of protection if we need it, in the event of a storm or a high wind event.
We've also got a generator that sits out here that can run on natural gas or propane, either one. So in case the electricity were to go out, we still have the ability to function 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's great.
So, you know, it was thoroughly thought through and prepared for, and the prior board and the current board members that were there really did a good job.
Yeah.
They really did.
thoughts and things that were put into it and the ideas. But again, y'all, thank you so much for explaining everything to us this morning and for taking the time to talk with us.
Sure.
And again, thank you all for what you do here. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Hope y'all have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.